Hey guys, this is Brutal Bob Evans from Hangs with Bob Seminars and TheWrestleLife.com, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment, one of my favorite podcasts in the whole wide world.
And we are wrestling with New Japan Wrestling Grand Slam in Tokyo Dome. This is the first event that they've had in Tokyo Dome that wasn't Wrestle Kingdom for, you know what, I can't even remember the last time. But this was originally scheduled to be in the late part of June. COVID kind of pushed that back, and now we're here. So it was kind of just a miracle that this event actually happened. No, Kaliko?
Yeah, but I'm trying to think. Wrestle Kingdom was the last one, I would say. They did this kind of last year when Naito took the belt back from Evil.
No, that was a baseball field.
Was it?
Yeah, it was a baseball
field. Grand Slam, it sounds goddamn.
It was a baseball stadium last summer they did. I forget the name of it, but also the Tokyo Dome is a baseball stadium as well. But
that is correct.
They were doing an outdoor show last year when Naito took the belt from Evil, but with this, it's like they went back to Wrestle Kingdom again in a sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into it. KOP 2021 match. New Japan Rambo with handcuffs. Meaning if you handcuff your opponent to any part of the ring or outside the ring, they're eliminated from the match. And of course, drawing your opponent over. Chase Owens is your new KOPW champion in 35 minutes and 36 seconds. Now that the KOP, which is closely associated to Yano for just about a year now, is officially off him. Do you see Chase Owens doing anything with the title, Kaliko?
Fuck no. Sorry to say it that way, but fuck no. Because the only person that made it worth something was Yano, because he beat Okada, and that basically was the premise. Like, this motherfucker beat the best wrestler in the world, and it's like, yeah, nah, homie. But we'll see. I'll hold my judgment, even though I just was so quick to the trigger. But the king of pro wrestling they're starting off bad, bro. They might as well just kept the Intercontinental title at this point.
What say you, Drew?
The king of pro wrestling, that whatever trophy, title, hood ornament, is just another version of the 24/7 title for New Japan Pro Wrestling. Chase Owens ain't going to do jack shit with it. And to be honest with you, nobody gives a fuck.
One person missing from the show was Yoshihashi. He wasn't competing. What are your thoughts on Yoshihashi, Kaliko?
Fuck Yoshihashi.
Thank you. IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championship match. El Phantasmo and Taichi Ishimori beat Rocky Romero and Ryusuke Taguchi in 21 minutes and 56 seconds. CR2 by El Phantasmo. Right guys, wrong, Kaliko? And we lost Kaliko.
No, you didn't. I said Rocky Romero was lost in translation. I was talking. Yeah.
Remember to unmute yourself.
But the right team won. Of course, the right team won.
El Fantasma is really putting over that his boot is loaded. And that played a big part in the match as well. Your thoughts on the loaded boot gimmick that EOP is actually getting over and, actually winning legitimate matches with a super kick? Drew.
Yeah, you can always win a match with a decent looking super kick, but that move is so played out and tiresome. To be honest with you, I just feel like sometimes when I tune into New Japan, it's like they're not giving me what they used to give me,
Yeah.
and it's just like I don't have to tune into every show. And I don't blame the pandemic whatsoever. I think this was happening way before the pandemic hit. It's not the same New Japan as going back in the words of Georg from A Sound of Music. It's not the New Japan that I know.
And that brings us to our next match, the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. Robbie Eagles defeated El Desperado in 19 minutes and 56 seconds with a Ron Miller special. Robbie Eagles has become the new IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion, the 90th IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion. This is a bit of a shock, no, Kaliko?
Yeah, because who the hell is Robbie Eagles? That's exactly. It's kind of like gender beat Randy Orton. Like, wait a minute, who the hell is this kid again? Why is he beating El Desperado? But like I said, he's got to have some shock value. His first reign with it's chaos too, though. So I feel like they kind of made up for Yano losing with the chaos guy winning because chaos, Lij, and Bullock. Technically, those are like the top three factions, and everybody else is kind of like playing with themselves at this point.
So
playing in
basically
traffic.
just Suzuki Gun.
Suzuki got to me kind of on a little downtick, but we'll get into that.
What say you, Drew?
To me, this was my match of the night on this particular card. It was great selling of the El Desperado, and if I was trying to tell somebody to check out New Japan, this would be one of the matches from this particular show.
Drew, you still go?
Nah, I'm good.
Okay. It seems like that Junior Heavyweight Championship, they've been kind of playing hectator with it. And I kind of felt like Desperado was doing a really good job as champion. He was having really great matches, like a high performance level matches, every time he defended it. And, it made sense that you build him up even more so in a prime position to have that return match against Hiromu and, obviously have him drop it back to Hiromu. Maybe actually let him have more of a run. Let him go to Wrestle Kingdom and give him maybe a monster run with a championship that hasn't been consistent with its champions at this point. It feels like Robbie Eagles right now is, he's going to wrestle Hiromu in September, next time they go to Tokyo Dome. It seems like he's basically just the placeholder until they give it back to Hiromu at this point. Am I wrong there, Kaliko?
I get your point there, but if they hadn't did that that story was already played out when Hiromu broke his neck, and then they had a formidable champion, and then he came back and beat him. So that's why I could see them changing it a bit in the sense. So that's why. And plus, at best, it could give, let's say Eagles gets the belt, he loses it to Hiromu. It sets up Desperado Hiromu too. So I think that's the one thing I like about New Japan is that, like, usually they don't go back to the same match back to back. They let that shit linger so that way you want to see it again. And that to me is probably their best strength, that it always circles back eventually, but it's not like WWE in the sense that, oh my God, we're seeing R-Truth and this guy for the 88th time. Like that guy, that thing.
Sure. You, Drew?
Totally agree with that, because New Japan, that's one of their strengths, is that they don't go back to the rematch. Well, too many times in WWE, it's the Sunday night's main event, and then it's the main event on Raw, a rematch from last night. So now you paid for Peacock to see this match, and now you get it for free on USA Network. Like with what New Japan does, which is brilliant strategy, is that, okay, these two have faced each other, say, this weekend. You're not going to see that match probably until maybe a G1 climax or down the road. You know, like if that person that lost can go back and rebuild themselves in a G1 or in another capacity and then get pushed back to that title picture, instead of let's do the rematch 84 billion times where fans get burnt out and don't want to see it anymore.
Next match, Kazuchika Okada defeated Jeff Cobb in 19 minutes and 23 seconds by pinfall.
Next.
Moving on.
Move it up. Gotta keep it moving out. Keep it moving out.
IWGP Heavyweight Tag Team Championship match. Zack Sabre Jr. and Tai Chi, Dangerous Techos, defeated Tetsuya Naito and Sonata in 37 minutes and 56 seconds with a European clutch. This is the third time Tai Chi and Zack Sabre Jr. are tag team champions. Obviously defeating the champions Naito and Sonata, who just won them maybe less than a month ago.
Yes.
That's kind of, goes back to my, Desperado, Robbie Eagles, hot potato scenario. That, you just gave these guys the belts and now you're putting them back on the original champions. Felico?
You know what? Every squash match or any match where a guy comes up and then they get their ass beat in the end, I'm just going to start calling it the Sonata Slaughter, yo. Because I swear that dude is just like, I'm surprised he hasn't left by now. They just set this dude up to be taking some L's, yo. Like L's. Like I can see Naito losing. He's protected. He's done accomplished so much. But Sonata, man, I'd be like, fuck this shit, I'm out. Because he's just been set up to slaughter so many times. It makes no sense. But
they're doing them dirty?
they've been doing them dirty for like 5 years. Oh yeah, Sonata quarterfinals, New Japan Cup, Okada slaughter. Oh yeah, finals G1 Cup slaughter. Oh yeah, you get the title shot slaughter. Like this is not a slaughter, yo. It's slaughterhouse. The Sonata set up for slaughter. Just
Drew?
Yo, this match was 15 minutes too long. It was 15 minutes too long. It didn't need to go that long. And yeah, Sonata's been jobbed out ever since he came back from Impact Wrestling. It's just, I feel bad for the guy, but it's the same thing we've been saying about some other guys on all over the place in the world of wrestling. Is the company going to pull the trigger on them, or is this where the company thinks they should be? But the match was a little too long for my liking.
It sounds like we need to have Hangman Page versus Sonata, and one of them, whoever wins that match, will get an official push from their company, and the other one goes back into obscurity. Sound good?
You mean loser leaves wrestling?
Basically. Because it seems like Hangman Page is in the same position. And that brings us to our last match. This was originally supposed to be Shingo Takagi versus Kota Ibushi. Kota Ibushi got sick and was replaced by Hiroshi Tanahashi. Before we get into Tana and Shingo, how badly does that hurt the main event to have this build up and then not being able to deliver? And what does that speak to this championship that they've only had like a handful of these title matches and maybe two of them have actually gone right? Kaliko.
I remember when Okada said that there's some bad juju on that belt. I swear to God, if there were ever an opportunity where I would believe it, it would be now. But I mean, the substitution is Tanahashi, who's the John Cena of New Japan. So it gives Takagi the win to solidify that he's a solid champion, right? So he didn't get the win in the sense of the story arc, but he got the win over a bona fide legend to show, hey, this guy is for real. That would be the one caveat to it, but I don't know, man. This belt's been like 6 months old, and it's just been some hell with that thing. That thing been through hell in 6 months. I thought the civil rights movement was bad. Now this belt going through it, homie.
And Tana did beat Shingo for the Never Openweight Championship, so there was a story for that. There was a story between them. Unfortunately, we never really got to see it unfold because it just was kind of like a last minute thing. Drew?
The match itself, highly recommend this match if you want to tune into this particular show. Like I said before, the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship and this championship match, highly recommend that you tune in for the match quality. But I feel like this, and I'm gonna bring my Jamaican culture into this. There is a bag of crosses on this IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, which means that, like what Kaliko is saying, Okada said that there's some bad juju. Oh, hell yes, there's some bad juju. It's like ever since they announced this title and put it on Kota Ibushi, what could go wrong has gone wrong 190%. We have it's a witch doctor, which we call Obeah in Jamaica. They need to go get their money refunded from the Obeah that they use because they put a bag of crosses on this belt. I don't know what you can do to refurbish this thing. I don't know who you can put it on. I don't know anything you can do right now because it just feels like anybody you put this belt on, they're destined to not look good. And the championship just look weaker and weaker and weaker. And yes, Tanahashi is a legend and he is the John Cena of New Japan Pro Wrestling, and it helps that he was a last minute replacement, which, thank God it was him. But again, how does this help Shingo Takagi going forward with any other challengers, plus any other new stars that they want to build going forward with this belt that has so much bad energy that it might need to go into a salt bath to get rid of it?
And just so everybody is aware, Shingo Takagi won the match in 37 minutes and 26 seconds with Last of the Dragon. You said that it makes the champion look bad. Shingo is the current champion, and he's probably standing on one leg when it comes to this championship because it had so much, as we've been calling it, bad juju. Does that hurt Takagi, or does it, in the eyes of the company, kind of make him look a little bit stronger that he's able to, um, overcome this adversity to a degree? Drew.
In the eyes of the company, it makes him seem stronger because he has to go through this adversity being the holder of this title. But we always heard this saying, and Ric Flair always used to say it, the man doesn't make the title makes the man. I'm probably paraphrasing wrong, but it just feels like you reintroduce this belt, or you introduce this belt, and is the belt getting over, and is the champion getting over? And the champion is getting over because he has to go through all this adversity, which tells a great story, and it's kind of a reminiscent of what real sports is. Because sometimes, especially with fighting, you could go in a fight week and be like, hey, I know I'm supposed to be going up against this guy in the main event. And then look what happened with Cormier and John Jones a few years back. Cormier is at fight week, ready to fight John Jones, and then 48 hours before the main event, he's told, hey, John Jones effed up and he can't fight you. Like, so in the eyes of the company, for Shingo to be in this position that, okay, he was supposed to fight Ibushi, they're going to have a great story, they're going to have a great match, and then Ibushi gets hit with a crazy bout of pneumonia, because I was reading about it, and it's like, if you don't swallow your food and you suck down your food in a certain way, you can end up blocking your airwaves. It's crazy. So kudos to Shingo for doing it. The company, I think, has faith in him to say, okay, we're not going to strip you of the belt. We're not going to take the belt off of you. We're going to run with you. It's more kudos to him for what he has to do in this adverse time that he's going through.
Kaliko, do you see this this IWGP World Championship surviving to the end of the year, or do you see at some point down the line we're going to see a split?
If I were them, I'd go to the gods and get that bitch split in half. But the one thing that they did with the belt was something that Japan, in general, their culture usually never do, is they fucked with tradition.
Right.
Because the Japanese are traditional culture, right? So to me, when that belt got changed, it's just downhill. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes back, but to me, if they had a chance to bring it back, it would have been when Ospreay got hurt. I think that was the best chance to bring it back. Because to me, I think they're going to go with it because they're in too deep at this point. So I will see how it works with the tradition aspect, because I don't feel like the people are buying it because they fucked with tradition. Because with that belt, keep in mind, every time that they had a title match, they would show every person that held that belt. So it was not just the belt itself, it was the tradition and the history with the belt.
And that was just like
that's where what they got rid of. So
yeah,
they're gonna have a steep ass climb. That's for sure.
They rescheduled Kota Ibushi. No. Evil will be fighting Shingo for the belt in, I believe, September 5th. Does Evil have enough evil juju to actually come out of this with scotch-free? Drew?
Nah, man. But I want to go back and piggyback what Khalik was saying about tradition. And I think we answered the question on why this belt has bad juju. It's because the tradition is not there. Like we've seen the history of the IWGP Heavyweight Championship and the who's hold it and the lineage and the history and all of that. So when you strip that away and say we're getting rid of that history, and yes, the Japanese culture is very, very traditional when it comes to their history and what they're about, and you erase it, there's where the bad juju comes in, because they're not going to believe this title anymore. It doesn't mean anything. It would be like the NBA getting rid of the Larry O'Brien trophy and giving out WWE style championship belts if you won won the NBA finals, or another iconic championship, the Stanley Cup. If the NHL said we're getting rid of the Stanley Cup and we're going to give out bracelets, gold bracelets or silver bracelets, the history is gone. Even though we know year after year they removed old names off of the Stanley Cup to add the new ones. We all know that, but the history behind it, we know who has held it, who's been a part of it, what teams have done this, that, and the third, the legends, and that's what happened with that whole switching of the IWGP Heavyweight Championship and merging them. They got rid of that history. But I don't think, I honestly, as a character, I've never believed in Evil whatsoever. I think Evil in the main event picture is wrong in a sense, because to me, he doesn't play like a main event player. They throw him in the Bullet Club. To me, that hasn't worked. They've tried to do so many things with him, and it's just not sticking for me. And to be honest with you, I just think September 5th, Shingo goes over him again and keep it moving. I think whoever wins the G1 tournament is going to be the next guy to be the champion, to be honest with you. I think we're going to ride out this year, go into Wrestle Kingdom, and then start a new when that ends.
All right. And that's not what I wasn't asking you. Does Evil win against Shingo? I'm asking, does weird or stupid shit happen to Evil because the bad juju on this belt? Does he actually get to the match with Shingo?
Man, I don't want to wish ill will upon anybody. As Biggie Smalls used to say, there's no coming back from certain things. So, to be honest with you, I hope he gets to the match. And to be honest, do I see him getting to the match? It's a 50-50 crapshoot, to be honest with you. If he does, great. And if he doesn't, it's another person that's power to the course.
And I totally agree with you on the point of, what they're doing with Evil isn't working right now. I mean, he could beat Yano for the King of Pro Wrestling. He could beat freaking Yoshihashi for the Neville six-man belts. And what are your thoughts on Yoshihashi again, Kaliko?
Fuck Yoshihashi.
So
I feel like if you lose to Yano and Yoshihashi, you're pretty much at like the crossroads of your career.
Yes, you might be worse than Sonata or Hangman Page. Anything else you want to add, Kaliko?
Let's just hope nothing happens to Shingo, because I feel like every person that's held that belt has some shit happen to him. So that it ain't Evil you need to worry about. It's Shingo you need to worry about.
And with that, we will conclude our coverage of the New Japan Grand Slam event and this entire episode. Drew, thank you so much for coming on and doing this with us once again.
You love me. I know you love me.
Of course we love you.
Yeah, because he agrees with my point. That's why we make fucking.
That's the only reason why I'm here, because I agree with you. I'm not gonna.
No.
I ain't agreeing with you no more. I ain't putting you over no more. I've jobbed out too many times to Kaliko.
Oh no!
I've jobbed to Kaliko too many times. Now I need a win. I need some money. I need to go to the pay window now.
I'll give you the finger posted. You know what? You can put me through the Sonata slaughter. Since you put me through so much, the Sonata slaughter is just for you. I'll go through it just for you.
All right.
Put yourself over, Drew. Feed your family. Where can we find Drew, the Gr8ful Yardy podcast, all that good stuff?
Okay, you can find the Gr8ful Yardy podcast on Anchor.fm, Apple Podcasts, Podcast Addict, now on Spotify, and wherever your podcast. You can find your boy Drew on social media. Twitter, that is DWrestling99. On Instagram, Drew_Wrestling99. And if you want to check out the Facebook page, that's facebook.com/The Gr8ful Yardy. And Grateful is spelled GR8FUL.
And if you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, comment, both on YouTube and Castbox. Of course, this episode was sponsored by Rogue Energy. Use promo code WrestlingWithE for 10% off your next purchase. They even added some new flavors, orange vanilla. So you want to go and taste that as well. Use the promo code, you'll get 10% off. If you want to follow Everything Wrestling with Entertainment, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at Wrestling with E for all your wrestling with entertainment needs. Follow us individually as well. I am at JamesJ993. Where can they find Kaliko?
You can find me blaming Adam Cole at I Am Kaliko.
And of course, you can find Scooter Dust at Scooter Dust and on the remix and the Smoking Dragons Twitch stream. Join us this Wednesday as well as we interview Calvin Couture, and what should be a great interview. Until then, for our very special guest Drew, Kaliko Yacht, Scooter Dust, I'm James J, and this has been Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hey folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show, support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.